Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to 1118. I'm your host, Candace, and today we're going to be talking about non negotiables. These are basically boundaries and standards that we are holding up to ourselves. Out of all the things that we've gone through, we now have a set boundary, and these set boundaries are ways that keeps us feeling balanced, and secure, feeling like our truest self. And the more that we're doing things that are aligned to that, the more open we are to more experiences. But it all comes down to the fact that you have allowed yourself to really put yourself first when it comes to your spiritual, your physical, mental, and emotional well. With that all being said, get cozy, hang out with me as we talk about the non negotiables and how and why they can benefit you starting today. First and foremost, we have to really talk about what exactly are non-negotiables. So in my opinion, non-negotiables are the things that you must have in your day-to-day life. These are basically things that are keeping you balanced, keeping you centered, keeping you aligned to who and however you are spiritually, emotionally, physically, and mentally trying to connect to. Think of it as different roots, and these roots are then planted in soil. These are the things that are keeping your foundation really secure, and it starts off at the root. It starts off at who you are. So it really comes down to what are your non-negotiables, what are certain things that you're willing to accept and not accept. But I'm going to be sharing with you today what my non-negotiables are within the four bodies. So before we even get started, I do want to say that some of these non-negotiables are absolutely the things that I set in place for us when we started the Self-Love Spirituality Challenge. There's a reason why these rules were set in place, because these rules are going to help you set the tone for your non-negotiables. And if you're doing something for 30 days, it only takes 30 days to make a good habit or to release some type of hold that something has had on you. So if you're practicing every day and you're giving yourself that time to do things for self, it really truly does allow you to connect to yourself in a different way, but also the non-negotiables are now being developed because you have put yourself first. So let's go ahead and start with the mental body first, or the mental non-negotiables. So we talked about our mental state in the last previous videos here on the channel, and I want to just commend you guys for one, really tackling your mental state and how those things correlate with your emotional self as well. I also want to say that your mental state has a huge barrier on where you are, how you feel, and what are the things that you are constantly having up here that you may need to give yourself that space and time to really process. So the mental non-negotiables that should be in place for you are utilizing certain tools that are going to help you connect to your mind. And this can also play into the spiritual non-negotiables as well. Because this thing is such a precious thing, and because we have gathered so many different images and so many different experiences from different people in our entire life, however old you are, there's a lot of memories, there's a lot of things that need to be brought up and healed, and there's some things we need to just process and allow ourselves to sink in it. There are some things that we need to reminisce and bring back forth happiness, and or we're talking about the future and aligning to this individual that you see yourself at night, or that you are spiritually connecting to, whether that's through meditation or journaling. There is a heavy space within you where, as you are healing yourself and you're connecting to these images and these memories and these excitements and these kungalooting up here, if you will, it's a good thing to have some type of tools or practices that are going to allow you to really continue on that self journey of really paying attention to self and figuring out your fucking shit. So the mental state is really important. The mental and the spiritual states are so important. So having some non-negotiables in related to this is something that you need to figure out is going to be best for you, but having these ones in place is going to help set the tone of how you're able to really connect to these things and process and heal, or whatever you need to do as reflection to really heal. So I've talked about numerous tools in the past couple of videos that you can utilize for the mental or spiritual body, as well as connecting and building your own non-negotiables, and I'm just going to continue on from there. So there's journaling, there's meditation, there's visualization, there is scrying, scripting, there is palmistry, there's tarot, there's astrology, there is therapy. But you can also get into more depth in the basics and say you want to do a spiritual spell that allows you to open up your throat chakra so that you can finally get the answers that you need to visually see it, but then also be able to process this and talk about it. There is ways for you to connect to herbalism and crystals and just word and writing and scripting. Those are beautiful ways to create those spells. That's a spiritual mindset. And then you're mentally connecting to this desire. You're emotionally connecting. You're using fire as another element for the earth. There's so many different ways to spiritually heal, right? I was saying that as a tool. That is one tool that you can utilize for yourself to really open up that spiritual non-negotiable. So there's a lot of simple ways that you can really bring forth the non-negotiables in the mental and the spiritual body. You can now, emotional non-negotiables, these are things that you are doing to protect your heart, to your emotional body, how you have been emotionally being processing and healing certain things that have gone on in your life. This may be saying no to people that actually physically, emotionally drain you. This could be letting yourself know that moving forward, when I'm dating or in a relationship, I'm no longer going to accept this type of behavior in my life. And I will highly suggest that you do one, especially if you are an empath, where you know you are spiritually and emotionally, subconsciously soaking in other people's things, and when you leave that area or that person, you feel so heavy. It's because you're emotionally receiving subconsciously someone else's energy. So protecting your energy by just setting those non-negotiables of emotionally, I'm not going to allow myself to really dive into people who really don't care and or want a word dump on me. They're not checking in on my emotional well-being, so I'm not going to give that. Basically, I'm not going to be a people pleaser. I'm actually going to let people be and let them fuck up and do the things that I need to do for self. Like, I'm not going to interject. That's an emotional thing I'm doing because I can get emotionally attached. So those are just a few examples how your emotional self can be riled up. And again, it's going to be different for everyone. But creating an emotional non-negotiable sets the tone about what you're willing to receive in the inside as far as emotional based and what you're willing to give out as well. So we talked about spiritual, mental, and emotional. The last one obviously is going to be some physical non-negotiables. Now, the physical is basically what keeps your body energized, healthy, ready to go. Here's the thing. We cannot trade these suits. It's not like a bathing suit or like a different outfit. Like, we only get one. We only get one. So if we're not taking care of this vessel and we're not taking care of this, we're just not allowing ourselves to live out our potential. We're doing things that do not align to us in our physical body because our body is physically rejecting it. Trigger warning. When my father passed away, I developed not a healthy eating situation for myself where food was the only thing I could control, and I couldn't control losing my father and being in a very abusive relationship. I was not feeling the best of myself, but the one thing I could control was food. And so I developed a very nasty habit that carried on until I got pregnant. And when I got pregnant for the second time, I really chose to look at food differently and healthy because it wasn't about me anymore. It was about someone else. Because when you're triggered and you're going through things, I'm getting on a tangent, but when you're triggered and you're going through things, your body learns to shut down. Your mind learns to shut down. But it stores that trauma in the back. It knows that you're going through something. So I was being triggered. And so I had to learn to heal those triggers in order to be healthier as a vessel for another being growing inside of me. So that's when I started to really learn about food, what's in our food. I gave myself the time to learn the education about what's being put out to me. And then lo and behold, my baby that was born, he's allergic to a lot of things. So that forced me to look at food even more differently. So I got to cook differently for him specifically. Because of the trauma that I went through, I was able to really create a healthier boundary for myself that actually grew into a self-care, that the more I do that, the more I feel aligned and attuned to myself. Like, I'm sure you guys always hear me talking about how food is my love language. That's because I had to rewire my brain about food, and now it's become one of the favorite things that I love to do. It's my love language. So, as a physical boundary, I chose to physically change the way that my body is and my viewpoint on food. Because of that, now I'm the healthiest I've ever been. I take my supplements in the morning. You guys really ask me about my skin and like what I'm doing. It's because I'm eating healthy and I'm taking my supplements and I'm giving my vessel the best chance that it can in this thing called Earth. So I'm doing as much as I can, and that's a non negotiable for me. If it's not going to the gym, then it's doing Pilates, it's walking. It really is making sure that I'm getting those steps in. I'm putting in some type of physical stuff to this body to keep her maintained. For those of you who did not join the self-love and spirituality challenge that we completed out in August, I'm going to go ahead and run down just a little bit of the non-negotiables that I have put in that challenge, just so that you can get a sense of where you can start for building your own. Okay. Negotiable number 1, we are going to be drinking our water. We have to be staying hydrated. We have to be making sure that we are fueling this thing. And I talked about my bougie water numerous times. There's an actual video on how I make my bougie water, and if you want to, I'm gonna make sure to link it down below so you can take a look at it. But it's super easy to make. That is one of the best ways that you can stay hydrated and be really drinking your water, where it's not like just bland water, it's actually good water for you to be drinking. It is a electrolyte water, so it's more hydrating, it's going to keep you more energized, and honestly, you can't go wrong with it in my opinion. Non-negotiable number 2, we are taking our daily supplements. You got to keep your body upkeep. You got to make sure that you're taking your vitamins. If you said that you're going to take this morning shot, and the morning shot is like maybe a concoction of some spirulina, apple cider vinegar, whatever that's going to help with your gut in the long term, that is a non-negotiable. You're up every morning having some form of a daily essential that is helping your body continue to be nourished or to flush out things that you want to let go in your physical body. Daily essentials. Oh, and let me just also be clear, this also pertains to prescriptions. So you have prescriptions, that also needs to be a part of your list. Non-negotiable number 3, okay? We are making our own affirmations, and these affirmations is a mental thing, it's a spiritual thing. It's also an emotional thing too, because you align and manifest way faster when you can connect those two and really feel yourself experiencing what you say you want and you desire. So by saying affirmations that you are creating for yourself, which I've gone through in other videos as well, I feel like it's more personal when you write your own affirmation. And these could be stated off as I am. Think about first, second, or third person, and you connect to whatever words you need to say for yourself in the morning. And I mean, as soon as you wake up, you start to realize you're waking up, start saying those affirmations. As soon as you're falling asleep, say those affirmations. It is a mind thing that we are tricking our brain to say, this is what we are, and your brain's gonna go, but where though? And it doesn't matter. The more you are tricking your brain to rewire those thoughts, to rewire towards what you want, you're just connecting to those dots internally more faster. So, affirmations. Anyway, the one thing we're not gonna do on this one is we're not gonna be a mean girl. Also, if you say something negative, okay, this is another non-negotiable that can be for you. If I say something negative about myself or about someone else, I have to replace it with 2 positive things. You're rewiring yourself on how a past behavior used to be, and you're saying to yourself, this is a non-negotiable. If I'm being a mean girl or I'm saying something mean about myself or to someone else, I got to replace that with 2 positive things. So, no mean girl shit. If we are going to be having an unplugged morning, that means we're giving ourselves at least an hour with no screen time. These things are beautiful, right? They're a contraption of a computer, and that dopamine of watching stupid shit that gets you that little bit of peak of high needs to not be first thing in the morning. You should be tuning into yourself, into your body, and allowing yourself to wake up, especially if you are a slow morning individual. So you need to give yourself that time to actually wake up, to actually get the crust out of your eyes, to wipe your butt, brush your teeth, drink your coffee, which is really bad, by the way. You should drink water and all that stuff prior. But it's a non-negotiable, right? Like your non-negotiable becomes, I'm unplugging in the morning. Also just does wonders for your brain and your mental state and your spiritual state, like what you're putting in your brain. Because like as soon as you wake up in the morning, your brain is still not here. It's like still, it's like a, I forget the name that it is, and I'll put it right here because I'm that girl right now. And when you're in that state, you are still manifesting. You're still in between that visualization. You're still in between that connection to understanding, like receiving certain information spiritually, that your brain is so open to that. If you allow yourself to really build some type of slow morning or unplugged morning that allows you to still stay connected, you'll find peace at really having a way better morning. And I bet you, watch how your flow is in the morning. Watch how people talk to you. Watch how you respond to people talking to you. Watch how you are to yourself in the morning once you start developing some type of an unplugged morning. We must and need have daily maintenance. We are again taking care of this vessel, which means the decay and the things that help us do everything that we can, which is everything that we have, which is our teeth, this largest organ, which is our skin. We need to be protecting these things as much as we can, as naturally as we can. And so that requires scrubbing and brushing and lotion and oils and we just got to make sure that we have a daily maintenance. Okay, we can't get out of us not having a daytime, nighttime type of routine, something that's going to help you wake up the body, wash your body, whatever that is. We're developing some form of a daily maintenance that we do. Now, we've already talked about movement, which is exercise, so I'm not going to put really more emphasis on that, but that would be another one. It's a non-negotiable, as I mentioned, that we're having some form of daily exercise or some form of movement on the day that allows us to feel that we have awakened this thing and allowed ourselves to really tap into a more healthier body. Now, the last one is up to y'all. I don't know what your guys' thing is, but the more you can do this sober, the better that it is for you for connection. The more you release the factor that you need this in order for you to have fun, and processing why is that a statement for you, to then to cautiously choose to not do that for 30 days is a huge win-win for you, because you allowed yourself to be sober. You allowed yourself to really connect and build, and you allowed yourself that now that I've done that, a non-negotiable can be that I am no longer, or every single time I go out, I only have one drink. It's a non-negotiable. I don't need to get more. I don't like that feeling. Or when I go out, I don't have a drink at all. Or I only drink when I'm out socially. Like whatever it is, like social media, like you're meeting with a whole bunch of friends socially. So there may be a non-negotiable for you on that. And again, you may just want to be a non-negotiable right now is that I'm being sober. That's a non-negotiable. However you think you should do it for yourself, please do. But I feel like that should also be a non-negotiable, that if you're smoking a lot of weed or you're doing a lot of other things, you should give yourself that non-negotiable that like, I'm not going to do this for a while. So with that being said, setting up your own non-negotiable is a form of self-care, which also equals out to self-love. Y'all know I rock with those two things. I am here to teach you. I know this full-heartedly. I am here to teach you to learn what self-love is. And it comes from 4 different areas that you get to build and choose to heal and grow into. It is up to you on what non-negotiable you're willing to do for yourself. But I'm here to help you build that and create that, and that specific manifest and specific instructions that how to take care of you. And this is how you know how to do it, because you have placed these non-negotiables. You have learned to set these boundaries for yourself to really create your own that has helped you find you. I did it, and I know you can too. It's hard, absolutely, but I think when you are giving yourself that space to really connect to these things, you can learn to really build and create your own set of menu, your own self-care, self-love menu. of these are the things that are helping me, these are my non-negotiables, and this is what I'm going to be having for the remainder to help me get to here. With that all being said, I hope you guys truly did enjoy today's video on learning how to really understand the power that a non-negotiable can have for you. They're honestly here to protect your energy, your peace, your emotional well-being. And honestly, it doesn't have to be a lot of things that you are putting in place for non-negotiable. You may just have one non-negotiable that I'm not going to do this moving forward. I'm not going to make decisions based off of. It doesn't have to be anything grander, y'all. It just has to bring you peace. It has to help you bring you solidified happiness at the end of the day. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, or even like the video. It lets me know that you guys chose this video option. And or if you know someone that really needs to do that for themselves, please send them over. I would love to help them elevate their well-being as well. So with that being said, I will see you guys at our next video. Bye guys.